What if I told you that a 13-year-old genius believes that we are no longer living in the universe in which we were born? Today, we are going to thoroughly explore one of the most interesting theories ever proposed by someone who is still in middle school. A theory that connects the world's most powerful particle accelerator to parallel dimensions, reality shifts, and the Mandela Effect. Get ready to question everything you thought you knew about reality. The genius behind the theory. Meet Max Laughlin, a name that's been circulating around scientific circles and conspiracy forums. At just 13 years old, this child genius has been described as probably the smartest kid in the world, and even created his own free energy device. But it's not his inventions that have people talking. It's his absolutely incredible theory about what happened to our universe. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, just another internet conspiracy, hear me out. Max isn't your average teenager making wild claims on social media. This kid has been studying advanced physics concepts that would make college professors sweat. He's been featured in documentaries, interviewed by researchers, and has a following of people who genuinely believe he's on to something extraordinary. Max's background is genuinely impressive. He started reading scientific journals when most kids were still reading picture books. By age 10, he was already working on complex engineering projects and building devices that seemed impossible for someone his age. His free energy device, which he claims can generate clean electricity indefinitely, caught the attention of scientists and investors worldwide. His way of thinking about problems that others consider unsolvable makes him unique. While most scientists work within established frameworks, Max approaches physics from completely fresh angles. He doesn't get bogged down by what's supposed to be impossible because he hasn't been conditioned to accept those limitations. His theory about CERN and parallel universes didn't come from reading conspiracy websites or watching science fiction movies. It came from his deep understanding of quantum mechanics, his knowledge of particle physics, and his ability to connect dots that others miss. When Max looks at the data coming out of CERN, he sees patterns and implications that trained physicists might overlook simply because they're too close to their own work. What's particularly fascinating about Max is his confidence in his conclusions. This isn't a kid making wild guesses. He presents his theory with the same methodical approach that he uses for his inventions. He's calculated energy levels, analyzed timing correlations, and built a comprehensive framework that explains not just what happened, but why it happened, and how it continues to affect us. But what exactly did this young genius discover that has everyone so worked up? Well, according to Max, we're not living in the same reality we started in. In fact, he believes our entire universe was destroyed, and we've been shifted into a parallel dimension without even realizing it. The CERN Connection. To understand Max's theory, we need to talk about CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research. CERN is one of the world's largest and most respected centers for scientific research, focused on fundamental physics and finding out what the universe is made of and how it works. Deep beneath the border of France and Switzerland lies the most powerful machine ever built by humans, the Large Hadron Collider, or LHC. This massive underground ring stretches 27 kilometers around and can smash particles together at nearly the speed of light. When these particles collide, they create conditions that haven't existed since the first moments after the Big Bang. Scientists use the LHC to discover new particles, understand the fundamental forces of nature, and peer into the deepest mysteries of existence. It's already helped confirm the existence of the Higgs boson, the so-called God particle, that gives everything in the universe mass. But here's where things get fascinating and a little terrifying. Max Laughlin believes that CERN's experiments have done something far more dramatic than just discovering new particles. He thinks they've actually torn holes in the fabric of reality itself. The scale of what CERN does is honestly mind-boggling. The LHC contains over 1,600 superconducting magnets, each one more powerful than Earth's magnetic field. The entire facility operates at temperatures colder than outer space. We're talking about negative 271.3 degrees Celsius. The amount of energy involved in a single proton beam is enough to melt 500 kilograms of copper. When the LHC is running at full power, it's creating conditions that literally haven't existed anywhere in the universe for billions of years. The energy densities reached during particle collisions are so extreme that scientists have to use entirely new mathematical frameworks just to describe what's happening. Recent theories from some physicists, including Harvard astrophysicists, have suggested that CERN could potentially be using the LHC to create portals, allowing travel through hidden, curled dimensions. While mainstream scientists categorically deny this possibility, the theories continue to circulate and gain attention. The timing is important here. Max points to specific moments when CERN ramped up its experiments, particularly after major upgrades to the LHC. He claims that during these high-energy collisions, something went catastrophically wrong. Not wrong in the sense that the machine broke down, but wrong in the sense that it worked too well. Max's theory suggests that sometime around 2012, when CERN was celebrating its discovery of the Higgs boson, something else happened that they either didn't notice or chose not to publicize. He believes that the energy levels reached during certain experiments crossed a critical threshold, a point where the boundary between our reality and parallel realities became permeable. According to Max, our original universe couldn't handle the massive disruption to its quantum field structure. The result? Complete universal collapse, followed by an immediate shift of all conscious beings into the nearest parallel reality that could sustain life. It sounds impossible, but Max has mathematical models to support his claims. The Mandela Effect evidence. Max's theory cleverly explains why we wouldn't notice universe destruction through the Mandela Effect, a real phenomenon where millions share identical, false memories. Examples include Nelson Mandela's death, remembered in the 1980s prison, actually 2013, Berenstain Bears versus Berenstain Bears, and Star Wars, Luke, I am your father, versus actual, no, I am your father. They remember Mirror, Mirror on the Wall from Snow White, not Magic Mirror on the Wall. Some swear that Monopoly's mascot wore a monocle, even though he never did. Geography changes are especially disturbing. Many people remember Australia being much further away from other landmasses, with New Zealand positioned differently. Some recall South America being directly south of North America, rather than being offset to the southeast. These aren't minor details, we're talking about entire continents being in different positions. Corporate logos present some of the strangest cases. People remember the Ford logo differently, with many swearing there was no curly tail on the F. The Kit Kat logo has caused heated debates, with some remembering a hyphen that apparently never existed. Even the Fruit of the Loom logo has people confused. Many distinctly remember a cornucopia that was never actually there. Max argues these aren't memory failures but evidence of dimensional shifts. When CERN's experiments crossed critical thresholds, humanity transferred to a 99.9% identical parallel universe. We'd miss major changes, but notice small inconsistencies. Altered brand names, misquoted movies, shifted geography. The scientific possibilities. When we think about CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, and its Large Hadron Collider, LHC, most of us imagine cutting-edge science that pushes the boundaries of physics. But while the general scientific consensus suggests CERN can't open dimensional portals, quantum physics introduces some fascinating possibilities that make the seemingly impossible, well, theoretically possible. A significant component of quantum theory is the idea of hidden extra dimensions that could exist in parallel with our observable universe. Some physicists, particularly those exploring string theory, propose that our universe contains compactified extra dimensions, which are not immediately visible to us because they are incredibly small and tightly curled up in a way we can't directly perceive. If the LHC, with its immense energy, could somehow access these hidden dimensions, the implications could be far-reaching. In fact, the energy levels reached by the LHC at a whopping 13 trillion electron volts, 6.5 times more powerful than previous accelerators, might just be sufficient to make these compactified dimensions detectable or even accessible. Moreover, when combined with the theory of the multiverse, which posits that every quantum event could create parallel universes, CERN's experiments could hypothetically have the power to cause shifts in dimensional space. Imagine parallel realities being born with every particle collision, each collision opening the door to another reality, all while we watch from our current dimension. It's a mind-bending prospect, but one that's not entirely beyond the reach of modern physics. The conspiracy theories. Max Laughlin's theory has attracted attention from conspiracy theorists who believe CERN is up to something far more sinister than pure scientific research. The CERN portal to another dimension conspiracy theory has been widely circulated, particularly since the summer of 2022. Some claim that CERN scientists know exactly what they're doing and are deliberately opening portals to other dimensions. Others suggest they're trying to contact extraterrestrial beings or even demonic entities. There are theories about time travel experiments, attempts to change history, and plans to merge multiple realities. However, there is no evidence that CERN opened a portal to the future, to hell, or any other dimension, or that it opened up a black hole. CERN officials have repeatedly addressed these concerns, explaining that their research focuses on understanding fundamental particles and forces. CERN will not open a door to another dimension. If the experiments conducted at the LHC demonstrate the existence of certain particles, it could help physicists to test various theories about nature and our universe, such as the presence of extra dimensions. There is more information, but conspiracy theories persist, partly because CERN's work is genuinely mysterious and cutting-edge. When you're dealing with the fundamental building blocks of reality, smashing particles together at incredible energies, and exploring the deepest mysteries of existence, it's easy for people's imaginations to run wild. The dramatic imagery doesn't help either. The LHC looks like something out of a science fiction movie, a massive underground ring filled with superconducting magnets, cryogenic systems, and detectors that can measure particles smaller than atoms. It's the kind of setup that naturally inspires both wonder and fear. What's particularly interesting is how these theories have evolved alongside actual scientific discoveries. Every time CERN announces a new finding or upgrades its equipment, conspiracy theories adapt and grow. When they discovered the Higgs boson, some claimed it was evidence of dimensional manipulation. When they increased the LHC's power levels, theories emerged about reality-altering experiments. There's also the strange symbolism that surrounds CERN. Their logo features interlocked circles that some interpret as representing portals or gateways. The facility is built on ancient Roman ruins, which conspiracy theorists claim is significant. Even the name of their computer system, the World Wide Web, was supposedly chosen for symbolic reasons. But perhaps the most unsettling aspect of these theories is how they seem to predict real-world phenomena. People started talking about reality shifts and dimensional changes years before the Mandela Effect became widely known. Some conspiracy theorists claimed that CERN's experiments would cause mass false memories, and then, suddenly, millions of people started reporting exactly that. Real scientific discoveries. While we're exploring these wild theories, it's worth remembering that CERN has made genuinely revolutionary discoveries. The confirmation of the Higgs boson in 2012 was one of the biggest scientific breakthroughs of the 21st century. This discovery helped complete our understanding of the standard model of particle physics. CERN has also discovered new particles, studied antimatter, and pushed the boundaries of our understanding about the early universe. Their research has led to practical applications too. The World Wide Web was invented at CERN, and their technologies have contributed to medical imaging, cancer treatment, and industrial applications. But then again, if Max Laughlin is right, Maybe they have noticed we just got shifted into a reality where everything seems normal, even though it's not. What's really fascinating is how CERN's actual discoveries often sound just as incredible as the conspiracy theories. They've created antimatter, the most expensive substance on Earth, at about $62.5 trillion per gram. They've produced tiny black holes that exist for microseconds. They've observed particles that travel faster than light in certain conditions. In 2022, CERN made headlines with the discovery of 3 new exotic particles, including a new kind of pentaquark. These aren't the kinds of discoveries that make the evening news, but they represent fundamental shifts in our understanding of how matter works at its most basic level. There's also ongoing research into dark matter, the mysterious substance that makes up about 27% of the universe, but that we can't see or directly detect. If CERN succeeds in creating or detecting dark matter particles, it would literally revolutionize our understanding of reality. And here's something that might surprise you. CERN scientists are actively looking for evidence of extra dimensions. So while Max Laughlin's specific theory about dimensional portals might seem far-fetched, the basic concepts he's working with, extra dimensions, parallel universes, and reality-altering experiments, are actually areas of serious scientific investigation. The bigger picture. What makes Max's theory so captivating isn't just the science fiction elements, it's how it taps into deeper questions about reality, consciousness, and our place in the universe. Are we living in a simulation? Are there infinite versions of ourselves in parallel universes? Can our perception of reality be trusted? Max uses the Mandela Effect to support his claims that we have all somehow phase-shifted into a different reality. Whether or not you believe his specific theory about CERN, the questions he raises are legitimate philosophical and scientific inquiries. The concept of parallel universes isn't just science fiction, it's a serious topic in theoretical physics. The many-worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics suggests that every quantum measurement creates a branching point, splitting reality into multiple parallel timelines. If parallel universes exist, then Max's theory becomes at least theoretically possible. Maybe high-energy particle collisions can influence which branch of reality we experience. Maybe consciousness itself plays a role in determining which universe we inhabit. These ideas push the boundaries of our understanding about the nature of reality itself. They force us to question assumptions we take for granted and consider possibilities that seem impossible. But let's think about the implications of Max's theory for a moment. If we really did shift into a parallel universe, what does that mean for our understanding of identity, memory, and existence? Are we the same people we were before the shift? Or are we slightly different versions of ourselves with borrowed memories? Max suggests that our consciousness is what makes us unique across parallel realities. Even if our bodies and brains shifted into this new universe, our awareness, our essential self, carried forward some memories from the original timeline. This would explain why some people are more sensitive to Mandela effects than others. There's also the question of whether this shift was a one-time event or an ongoing process. Max believes that CERN's continued experiments might be causing additional minor reality shifts, which could explain why new Mandela effects seem to appear regularly. Every time they push the energy levels higher or conduct new types of experiments, we might be making tiny jumps between nearly identical parallel realities. The psychological impact of this theory can't be ignored either. If Max is right, then everything we think we know about our past might be slightly wrong. Our childhood memories, our historical understanding, even our personal relationships might all be based on experiences that technically happened to other versions of ourselves in a universe that no longer exists. The mystery continues. Whether you believe Max's theory or not, you have to admit it's fascinating to consider. What if a teenager really has figured out something that professional scientists have missed? What if the strange memories and reality glitches that so many people experience are actually evidence of something much bigger? The truth is, we're still in the early stages of understanding consciousness, quantum physics, and the fundamental nature of reality. Every day, scientists make new discoveries that challenge our previous understanding of how the universe works. Maybe Max Laughlin is just a kid with an overactive imagination and a talent for physics. Or maybe he's a genius who's seen something that the rest of us have missed. Either way, his theory raises questions that are worth exploring. What's particularly intriguing is how Max's predictions seem to align with emerging scientific discoveries. He talked about reality shifts years before they became widely discussed. He predicted that people would start noticing inconsistencies in their memories before the Mandela Effect became a mainstream phenomenon. Max has also made other bold claims about the future of science and technology. He predicts that within the next decade, we'll discover definitive proof of parallel universes. He believes that quantum computing will eventually allow us to detect and even communicate with alternate versions of ourselves. Some of his technological predictions have already started coming true. He described quantum entanglement applications that scientists are now actively researching. He talked about the potential for consciousness to influence quantum systems, which is becoming a legitimate area of scientific inquiry. But perhaps most importantly, Max represents a new generation of thinkers who aren't constrained by traditional scientific boundaries. While established scientists work within accepted frameworks, young minds like Max are free to imagine possibilities that older researchers might automatically dismiss. Whether Max's specific theory about CERN is correct or not, his approach to thinking about complex problems offers valuable lessons. He combines rigorous scientific knowledge with creative imagination, mathematical analysis with philosophical inquiry. What do you think? Can a 13-year-old talent really find out that we are living in a parallel universe? Have you experienced the Mandela Effect? Do you remember things differently from how they were always? Share your ideas in the comments. I would love to hear about your thoughts. And do you think that this story is more than that? And if you find this mind-blowing principle attractive, make sure to hit the subscribe button for more incredible discoveries that we think we know about our world.